Cheers, friends. Welcome to the Green Phoenix Farm. My name is James Loomis. I'm the farm director, and I'm here with Lynette Burn. And we are here to talk about choosing quality tools and maintaining them so that you're never left with anything short of a high-performance tool. So when I shop for tools, one thing that I'm looking for, obviously, is a sturdy build. It's pretty easy to find a tool. Feel it, get out there in the aisle, don't be afraid to smack it around, and make sure that you have a sturdy tool. We want our tool handles going into an adequate shank, and for me, I often choose fiberglass handled tools because they survive with less maintenance, although a lot of people prefer the aesthetics and the feel of a good wood handled tool. So one of the most important bits of annual maintenance when dealing with a shovel is the sharpening of a shovel, right? When we're out there with a shovel, we are cutting into the soil, and having that edge sharp and balanced really makes the tool take less effort, which makes your life easier. And why work more when you can work less? So for this, we set ourselves up in a comfortable position, shovel well supported, and we will begin sharpening from the bottom, and the bottom only. And we're using a fine metal file, okay, as opposed to a rasp. A rasp is too coarse. We want a fine metal file. All we're doing is restoring that edge on the bottom of the shovel. And so if you notice here, Lynette's taking nice even strokes, pushing, and she's going to do the same to either side of the shovel. And you can begin to see this polished, renewed edge start to appear, and it really doesn't take too much. We don't want to overdo it. I generally do 15 to 20 strokes on either side of the shovel, and boom shakalaka, you're good for the year. Now, this is also a great activity when you're trapped indoors, looking out at your garden. You're bored of all your seed catalogs, you still want to be connected, washing, cleaning, sharpening your tools, you're back in the action. All right, for our wood-handled tools, an annual sanding and oiling really helps to make those tools last forever. Without that coat of oil, waterproofing and protecting the shaft of our tool handles, they can begin to dry out and splinter, and nothing is going to destroy your hands as a gardener like a tool that's not smooth that may cause splinters. So if you are on the ball, all you need is a 180 grit sandpaper just to kind of buff and clean that surface before oiling. Now if you've been slacking, or you inherited some tools that have been sitting in the field from your great-great-great-great-grandpappy, you may need to use a more coarse sandpaper, starting with an 80 grit to 100 to a 120, just to get it smooth. So we're going to come in here and we are going to sand until we can see that nice layer of wood. All right, our tool handles are now sanded. We're just going to check them, make sure they're smooth, nothing splintering, and we can kind of see that renewed surface of the wood there. I'll now take a paper towel or a clean rag, wipe off that dust. If you have an air compressor, well, congratulations on your achievement. Feel free to use that. And once we're clean, it's time to apply the oil. Now, we use boiled linseed oil on all of our tools. Linseed oil is fantastic for this purpose because it will never go rancid, as opposed to maybe using something from your kitchen. If you want to level up your technique, you can heat your linseed oil to 130 degrees. Of course, being super mindful to not burn down your kitchen in the process, as oil is flammable. And on another safety note, be sure that your rags, when you're finished, you dry out completely in the sun. We never put oil-saturated rags or paper towels in with our normal garbage. They can spontaneously combust. Now, the key to oiling successfully is don't make a mess. Don't get it on your clothes. But at the same time, we want to saturate the tool And if you set your tool in the sun to warm it up as well, the oil is warm, this really helps to pull in. And oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? This brings me so much joy. Just watch that wood come back alive. Now, we're not simply just laying oil on it, we're literally working it into the wood. So several repeated wipes to really make sure that wood is getting all of the oil that is going to accept and soak in. And then we'll let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes, come back with a clean and dry paper towel or rag and buff off that excess. And what do you know, ta-da, ta-da, you're starting off next spring with a beautiful, well-maintained tool.
Hi, I'm Joel Cutler. I'm the farm manager here at the Green Phoenix Farm. I work for AmeriCorps and for Wasatch Community Gardens, of course. And I'm going to be doing a winnowing demonstration and talk a little bit about some of the seed farming we do here at the Green Phoenix Farm. So this is a red noodle bean, as you can see here. And as you can see from regular farm crops, these look very, very different. There's a wide variety of seed crops we do here. The main difference with seed farming and regular farming is there's a whole lot of stuff that we typically eat at an immature stage. Think of like squash, like zucchini, snap beans, for example. There's a whole bunch of them, tomatoes. So with something like beans, we want to let them get all of the nutrients that they can to make that really viable, really mature seed that's going to be successful. Once they get to this nice mature stage, you can see this seed pod here. What we're looking for are these guys. As you can see, it's a typical dry bean looking deal. But we need to get them out of the pods, and then we need to separate the pod that we don't want from the seed that we do want. And if any of you know old-timey terms, we are going to thresh these, and then we are going to winnow them. So the threshing is the breaking up and getting the seeds out and loose, and the winnowing is separating the seed from the chaff, or if you've heard, separating the wheat from the chaff. Same thing, but we're doing it with beans today. So I'll give you a demonstration on a nice small batch that was just harvested today. Do this real complicated thing where make sure your feet are decently clean, no mud. And this is real technical, so pay close attention. You get in here, and then you jump around, stomp on it. So now, as you can see, most of this is pretty well broken up. And depending on the species, this one is actually probably one of the easiest seeds we do because they're so big and heavy, and the seed pods are so dry and light and fluffy. This is one of the easiest things to winnow. The smaller the seed, typically, the more difficult it is. And with real small seeds, we'll actually go through a process of screening it after we thresh it, before we get to the winnowing. But this one's pretty good to go. So, once we've threshed it, we'll then set up our winnowing station. Grab these guys out of here. So what we're doing here is we've got our 3 bins. This is going to be what we're looking for. This is going to be the cleanest seed. This is our intermediate catch. And this is pretty much all trash. But what this does is, when we thresh it out, the secondary catch especially, we have the opportunity to re-winnow it if you find, typically not with beans, but other ones that you're getting too much mature seed in here that's good. We don't want to waste it, so this gives it gives us a little more control as we do it. So basically, we set up a box fan. We've got our threshed seeds with the chaff. I'm going to bring it right here. And this, we have to monitor it as we go because it's a very dynamic process here. This is one of the easier ones, but basically we're just going to gently dump this out. Yeah, there it goes. And you're trying to get, you can kind of see a seed column forming where all the chaff's blowing away and we have our seeds falling right here. That's what we're looking for. And then as we do it, you can kind of adjust your fan speed if you're finding you're getting too much chaff in the clean seed spot. And basically, we're using the power of wind here to separate all this junk stuff from the good stuff. And sometimes it takes a couple go-throughs. As you can see, I didn't do a super thorough job of the threshing part, so we've got some intact pods in here. But for the most part, you can come take a look at these here, and you can clearly see this is where our good seed is. And I would go and break these up a little bit more typically. But you've got your good seed here, and then if you look into the second one, you can see there's a bunch of junk, and then there's usually a couple seeds you can find in here that are not mature seeds, like little thin, not high quality, not going to be good viability. You can see this is kind of small, not the greatest color or shape compared to some of these other ones, which are much bigger, better color. And that's pretty much how it's done. If you find that you're getting a lot of your mature seed in the second one, then I can go back, dump it into my Cambrio, and re-winnow it so we can really control getting the cleanest seed possible, but not wasting any of it. And that's pretty much how it's done.